Hi viewers, how are you? It has been a while, but I haven't gone missing. I was just busy with a couple of stuff, but I'm back and I'm here to talk about bond, home loan, owning a mortgage, what it means, and what you could look out for. So, a lot of people talk about the fact that people pay a lot in rental, which is paying off somebody else's mortgage, instead of having your own mortgage payment or paying off your own property, especially in the times now when house prices are going down and there are a lot of properties that are kind of affordable, and also the new developments that are coming through in the market with around 600k or 700k that you can own a property. But there are certain things that people consider when they have to buy a property. The first thing is you need to consider size, you need to consider space. What type of person are you? Do you just want to get a mortgage and pay off for the rest of your 20 years, which is actually now 30 years, for the rest of your 30 years, paying off something that you know you're not going to be comfortable in? So number one, you need to make sure that you're comfortable in that mortgage. Number two, you need to make sure that you have enough space for whatever reason it is that you're getting a mortgage. Number three, you need to make sure that you have done your calculations properly before you get into such a transaction. Now today I'm here again on the Financial Coach with Indileni, and we're going to talk about mortgage debt. Now, yes, it's easy to say if you get your own property, you roughly pay 5,000 or 6,000 or 2,000 above what your current amount of renting. But there are two types of property that people can buy, from my perspective. You either buy as an investment property, or you buy as just, for your family, and you stay with your family, you don't want to use it for investment, which other people say is an asset. But for me, really, a house is only an asset if it brings back, and by the time you sell it off or you make money off it, then it's the asset part of it materialized. But if you are just paying it off out of your own pocket and you're staying there, for me, that's a liability, it's an expense, until such a time when I own the house. Because if you're still paying the bank, that is still a bank's property. Let's talk about what most of people don't consider when they're buying a property. So yes, you got your property, let's say it's $1 million, the property is of $1 million. So I'm just gonna demonstrate. You have a property of $1 million and you have it at 7 point, let's say you have it at 7%, which is the current interest rate. You have it at 7% and you're paying it off over 20 years. And this is also the other thing that is deceiving a lot of people. Just because a property is said to be 20 years doesn't mean that you have to go for the maximum years. And now that it's even over 30 years, that's just a longer period for you to pay off, and a longer period for you to pay a lump sum or a bigger amount of interest back to the bank, instead of taking the lesser years that you can afford, and then at the end of the day you pay less interest to the bank and you own a property closer to the value that it was really evaluated for. Now the other thing that people forget is, they forget that when you're buying a property, unlike with the renting you pay a clean 5,000, your water is probably included, and you add 600 bucks or 800 bucks of electricity, which is roughly, let's say, you're paying a 6,000 or 6.4k on a rental. Yes, I'm not advising anyone to remain in rental. Everybody wants to own property, but what I'm saying is, make sure you make your calculations right. Now, the first thing is you get a property for $1 million. $1 million, yes, that's inclusive of cost, and it's $1 million. Now, the second thing that you need to consider when you're going for a bond is you still have your credit life cover to be added on that $1 million. So that's already pushing up your installment. As much as you thought your installment will roughly be around 8k or 9k, the credit life cover that is added on that is adding to your mortgage repayment. The period of time that you're paying your mortgage off will determine how much interest you end up paying the bank or the financial institution where you're getting your loan from. The other thing that people don't consider is that when you were staying in that rental place, you didn't care about sewage costs, you didn't care about any other thing apart from you paying the landlord, and you stay in peace in your property. Now, when you own your own property, you must know that there is a lot of other costs that comes with it. It's now water costs, sewage costs, you have electricity costs that's coming, and you have damage costs. Any pipe, any leaks, anything, you have to fix it because it's your property. Now, a lot of people don't think about that. They only think about the amount that they need to pay back the bank, but they don't think about the actual amount in total and all the other costs that that accumulates or that adds up to actually owning a property. So let's talk about when you have an investment property or when you buy an investment property. Let's say you buy a property where you stay and you have backyard flats, for instance. What it means in that instance. So if you have an investment property, then obviously, yes, you're still taking care of that, but then you have somebody else renting in your backyard, which is helping you pay off the property, which is actually a good thing. But that's only if you're looking for an investment property. But just know that if you're looking for a family property, you must absolutely be sure that you can cover all costs. You should do your calculations. You should take into consideration inflation over the next 20 years. You should take into consideration interest rate increases, because your interest rate won't remain at 7%. So you must consider all that before you get into a property. Now, let's go back again to having maybe a bachelor flat in your background, in the back of your house. So this is another thing that people miss when they're buying an investment property, which they think will pay itself off. Now, there are certain times where you have your investment property or the bachelor flat that you have in your backyard, no one is occupying it. And now you're struggling to pay the bank because what you have done is you calculated your portion of adding plus the portion that's coming from the tenant to pay off the debt. Now that's a big problem. So what you should do when you're getting an investment property is make sure that with or without the tenant in the backyard flat, you are still able to cover your repayment for the bond. That is very crucial because there are times, few months, where you don't have a tenant and you still need to service your debt. You don't want to find yourself in arrears because you thought the mortgage is going to pay itself off. Guys, this is just a few information on mortgage. I know there's a lot and plenty of other things to consider, plenty of other things to look at. But for now, we're going to end it here. I think it's a long video already. We'll see you next time. We'll still keep covering on mortgage, what you need to look at. If you have questions, please ask questions. If you want to add any contribution, you are free. Look, this is for you guys, and I hope you keep it safe and still wearing your mask. It's not the end of Corona yet, so still keep safe. Follow government regulation. Till next time. See you guys. Bye-bye.